Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Get Dirty Garage, where today, since we got the door panels in the Elco and force fit, time to see if we can figure out this this instrument panel, dash panel, something or other. So I got this out of the Camaro and kind of stripped down, and we'll see what we can do to try and force it into the spot where it's not supposed to go. And should be an interesting challenge, I hope. So, but anyways, strap in. We got a lot of work to do, so let's go ahead and let's get dirty. Is this thing on? Yeah. All right, well, we've got the door panels in, so I think the first thing I want to try and do is to see even if I got a chance of getting this anywhere close. I think width-wise we're okay, but yeah, we got lots of interference with all the stuff that's underneath. So, kind of get a guess as to if it's going to go side to side. I think so. But what's getting in the way here? I'll show you that, like, all of this stuff has really got to come off of there. The original dash just kind of slid into here. The windshield's right here. So I think the first step is going to have to be getting rid of all this excess plastic here and see if we can get the backside of this to kind of sit over the top of this ledge. So let's go ahead and cut some plastic. All right, well, I think what's keeping us from going, sliding in there anyways, I mean, there's this back piece on the IP. It's actually a separate piece of plastic. There's two glued together, but there's no way I'm gonna get those separated. Got some mounting points here, but I think like these ducts, like the side window defroster and this defroster duct and these things have got to come off in order for us to get kind of a start to a fit, because this has got to be shortened up, I don't know, 5-6 inches or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and start chopping some of this plastic stuff off, see if we can't get, back probably in this area. I don't know. We'll see, and see what comes from there. So we'll get chopping on that. Get the smell of burning plastic just wafting through the air. It's really hot in the shop today, so I got fans going everywhere. But see if we can't get a little bit of this stuff cleaned up. Okay, well that'll get us a start to where we think we can slide it in there a little bit more. So let's go play with that on the car a little bit. Let some of the smell dissipate and go from there. Okay, let's see what we've got here. All that stuff is out of the way. I think we can get it a little bit further forward. That area. Let's see how we can prop that up just a little bit. And go grab a clamp. Let's see if we can get something in here to just kind of hold it for a second. And then close the door here. Okay, that's where that's gotta about live, I think. Let me back this up just a scooch. Sorry about that. Okay, well, I think it's going to be just a little bit wide compared to where we got the door panels set. Let me call for some trimming. But I think, quite honestly, it's pretty close to the right width. We might need a 1/4 inch off total in order to kind of match up to everything. But yeah, we'll get you in there and take a quick look. Okay, well, hopefully this shows up. It's a little bit tight right here. It's causing a little bit of a pucker. But it's not too bad on the top. As far as width goes, so it actually, if I take just a little bit off down in those areas and then going across kind of the same story, but you can get it to kind of match up to that door panel. And then up in the front, obviously it's just got to come to kind of around this area, so you can kind of chop that line off so it matches the front. The cutout's pretty close for the VIN, but get that to settle down just a little bit on there, and a little bit more trimming to do. But I think you can take a little bit more off the back. These sides are kicking it up a little bit, but like I said, we can trim along where the windshield's gonna go, and then kind of figure out the fit. Got some space to come over this way, but it's just catching on that on this panel here, so we'll see what we can figure out. But for your first will it even fit, work concept, I think we can get a start on it. All right, so I got this clamped in here pretty much kind of centered, I guess, and took a kind of a swag at where that I gotta cut that off to fit it up into kind of where the windshield is gonna be. So I've got to remove about this much material. Got it kind of lined up with the doors, and I'll show you the dilemma, I guess. We'll have to figure this one out, but since I had to kick the bottom of these door panels out so far, when you go to close, it catches on the bottom first before we get to closing up this gap on the top. So, a couple of choices there. I can trim the bottom of insides of this, and that one's going to interfere with the glove box, so I have to do some thinking there. Or I can try and go back into these door panels and tuck this contour further back. Probably only need just a half an inch or something like that, but I've been recovering those, so I'll do some thinking on that, trying to figure out what might be the best strategy there. But for now, let's go ahead and cut the front of this off and get this kind of at least the right shape for the Elco. So we'll go from there. All right, well, that'll get us in the ballpark. I left it a little bit longer than my mark, but I'm gonna clean up some of this stuff on the back side of this as well. Got like some double and triple layers of plastic and stuff over in here, so I'm just gonna take a grinder to some of this and try and smooth out the back so it kind of lays a little flatter in there, and then we'll do another quick test fit on the car. So go from there. Okay, well, I got the front of this pretty much trimmed, I think, to about where it needs to be, kind of to meet that windshield, and somewhat centered and so on. So I threw a couple of screws in there just so I could get it in the same spot more than once, and then just got it kind of propped up and inside to about the right height, so it meets door panels and so on. So I think at this point it actually pretty kind of fits. Like I said, these bottom wings and so on, on the dash, they kick out and the doors kick in, so may have to do some trimming down here and kind of tuck this in, because as you close the door, that's the first spot to hit. Camaro's a little bit wider, you know, it tapers out, and the Elco's kind of straight, so we'll have to do some adjusting there. But I think at this point it's time to see if we can find a way to something to actually get that mounted, and see what we come up with from there. So that'll be the next steps. All right, well, I think a good starting point is actually the crossbar that came out of the Camaro, and gives the mounting points for a lot of the stuff on that dash. So gotta strip this down to the bare minimums, I think, and see what we can accomplish there. I do have a lot of this stuff labeled, but most of this stuff, I think we'll start with just trying to pull this harness off. I think most of it is like a few grounds and a lot of just plastic clips, and then pulling off pulling off brake pedal and, you know, random assorted things, and see what we got to cut and see if we can get at least some sort of a fitment inside of the Elco. I think cross car we should be okay. We're definitely going to have some troubles up in the front because that dash on the Elco is definitely not as deep as the Camaro, but we'll figure it out, do some cutting and slicing and hacking. See if we can't find a way to marry the two up. Use a lot of these like Christmas tree clips now to hold the harnesses in place. Just kind of free those up. Just gonna have to pull off the grounds and should be able to get this whole mess out of the way. Some of this wiring we probably will use. A lot of it we won't, but we'll slice those harnesses open and try and get an entire or rework them, I guess. In order to just get the wires out of them that we think we need. Let's see, what kind of millimetrics do we have here? Once we get this harness off here, I think what we can do is kind of take the dash that we have, or the dash cover that we've modified, and see how far, see what it covers and what it doesn't, and do some slicing and dicing. But this has got the mounting provisions for the steering column, and in the Elco those provisions are actually welded to the firewall, so gonna be a interesting fight for real estate there. We'll have to see what we can keep and what we can't. And then this brake pedal's got to come off of here too. What a mess. I think once we get this wiring harness off of here, it's probably going to weigh about 30 pounds less. It's a lot of copper. But good news is, as we start wiring up the Elco, we should have plenty extra wire. I don't know what this little fuse thingy is too, but We'll leave it attached just because I don't know what it is. And I'm sure we won't need it. Okay, one more ground. Okay, you know what? I will get this harness off of here, and I'm going to pull that brake pedal off, and then we'll grab the dash panel and kind of slide it over this and see what mounting points are important and what aren't, and then we'll figure out a plan on how to actually put this in a car. So we'll pick it up from there. Okay, kind of got this stripped down, I think, to at least a starting point. This in the Camaro mounted to a couple of plates on the side, and then right here down on the tunnel, and then up in the front to the firewall. So, and then this beast kind of clips on some posts there. And kind of sits in there something like that. So there's some attachment points down here inside kind of the radio portion. There's some attachment points right behind the cluster, and then down here underneath the glove box, I think give that some support. But these sides were attached with little brackets, so we can remake those little sheet metal brackets. But when we look at, let me just flip this around real quick. Look at this side. Obviously, everything that kind of sticks out in here. This is a locating pin on the Camaro, and then these went to the firewall. This is the mount for the steering column. So I think what I can do is just kind of slice these off to get a starting point, and then see if we can kind of MacGyver that into the car, I think. So let me grab a marker real quick. And I'm thinking if we just slice that off. And this off. Need that bracket for the BCM. That'll leave, you know, at least a mounting for the steering column. Haven't really decided whether we want to use the steering column from the Elco or the Camaro. Hopefully we can use the Camaro one, kind of adapt it, because steering wheel's a lot cooler and got all the fancy functions on it and stuff. But I think what we can do at this point is kind of slice that portion off, and then be able to see if this will go somewhat into the Elco. So I'll figure out what brackets go and what brackets stay. But let's do a quick slice of those. See what happens. Okay, I think that's sufficiently butchered enough to see what we can come up with in the car. Let's go play with that just a little bit. Okay, so as I kind of suspected, this steering column bracket wants to live in the same spot that this steering column bracket wants to live in. So make the executive decision. I'm going to slice this one off, and we're going to end up going with the Camaro column. So I think that'll give us a little bit more style, I guess. But once we get this sliced off, there's really kind of no turning back, I guess. So we will hack this one off. And I know that the brake pedal also attaches to these two, but we'll have to modify that bracket, I guess, and so it can attach to the column for the Camaro mounts. But this, at least, if I'm using the Camaro column and mounts, will actually center that. This is just slightly off center that way, so I think it'll kind of make the whole aesthetic proper. So we'll get this one sliced off and then do a test fit. So. All right, a couple of spots in there could not get the sparkly wheel tear in, so get out the old Destructo saw. But I think that's gotta live someplace in there. I'm gonna kind of prop this up for a second. Okay, well, we'll take a quick stab at throwing the cover in and see where we got to go in the car and figure it out from there. So that'll be next. All right, so this is just kind of propped in there and just hopefully kind of somewhat centered, but I'm just gonna kind of drop this on where it's supposed to want to live on that bracket, and then looks like we definitely got to go down in the car and probably a little bit forward. Okay, so that's where that wants to be. This doesn't have to go forward. Definitely got to go down. we got to go down about inch or so. Stay there. Okay, so that's about how it rests on the crossbar in there. Take a couple of quick measurements here. About 1.5 inches on that side. Same 1.5 inches over here. Okay, so it looks like we got to go down in car 1.5 inches. It's resting on a couple of little brackets in there. So what we'll do is we'll slice those brackets off next, and then see if we can get a spot where it's happy living, and then figure out some mounting to the car. So we'll do that next. Okay, well, here are the brackets that scavenged out of the Camaro that actually were spot welded to the pillars there. Those go in the sides of this monster. Just that's what it bolts to the car with, and those are the brackets that were kind of resting on the other brackets. And got to looking at it, rather than cut the brackets off the car, because I think that's the bracket that holds the parking brake. I decided to slice 1.5 inches off of these brackets. So we'll see if that gets us lower in the car and able to kind of get a feel for how that can live in there. So. Prop this thing back up again. Somewhere in there. Stay. Sit. Okay, I'll throw the cover on real quick and just see if we're closing the gap. Kind of lines up. Do this. See if I can find the screw hole again. That was not it. Let's see where we're at. happy. That's pretty happy. See where we're at height-wise. Okay, gotta rotate back just a little bit. I gotta say that's pretty darn close, I think, to where it should be living. So, okay, well, I'm gonna make a couple of marks on some of these brackets on the inside and see if I can't figure out how to attach the brackets that I scavenged off the Camaro to the pillars here in the Elco, and that way we can get kind of a permanent, semi-permanent attaching point, I guess, to get this repeatable in and out of here, and that way get that in place and figure out kind of tying in that bottom. So we will go from there. Well, we've come to a bump in the road. And I was kind of fussing around with stuff and trying to get things lined up and see how we can get that crossbar in there and lined up with doors and stuff like that, and realize the only way that I'm actually going to be able to line up kind of these lines across the top where it meets the doors is if I can close the doors, and can't close the doors because this, as you can see, tapers out. Doors are pretty much straight. So I think at this point really don't have a choice but to slice the ends off of this thing, and that way we can get the doors closed and get the tops of this lined up. Then we'll have to rebuild these corners, kind of like we built on the door panels, I think. So yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out, I guess. But time to chop this up a little bit more. Okay, so here's my thought on keeping, I tried to keep that AC vent kind of intact, and that way, you know, it's set in here like this, and we can kind of cut some more material out and slide it in just a little bit, and kind of get it back in the same spot, so that will meet up with the doors. But this, hopefully, cutting those out on both sides, should be able to actually get the doors closed now and get kind of the top of that lined up fore and aft in the car. So let's go throw this on the car and see what we're coming up with. Okay, so I shoved this back in and get the doors closed, and I think lined up pretty good on those corners, where I think once that's covered, that should blend in pretty good around that curve there, and got some gap to that portion, so we'll fit the AC vent down in there, you know, and figure out how to mold that back together. I did have to shove this a little bit further forward to kind of make things fit, but take a quick look at the other side. And I think we've got some pretty decent gaps in there that might have to go forward just a touch. But that, I think, will allow us to get those vents back in there. Do some smoothing out of there, and got some, so this is relaxed at this point. A little tough to see, but it's not interfering with the door, so we can kind of make that transition there. But that gets us in place and doors closed. So I think what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to actually, the little brackets down here, make something up where I can tie that into the tunnel real quick and get that actually sitting in there, so I can get the wood out, and that way get that center kind of located, and then we'll figure out in these corners kind of how to attach those blue brackets to the green metal in there. I know it's really hard to see, but we'll figure something out on that side. But I think at this point we've got a fit that we can live with, and we will see if we can get that crossbar mounted up in there. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I went ahead and just whipped in a couple of brackets, just the little bolt on the back side, just to kind of locate that in the center, kind of height-wise, somewhere like that. That keeps it from kind of flopping around in here. And this is where the corners want to land. Hopefully you can see a little bit of that. All right. Well, the blue piece here is what I cut out of the Camaro, and then it's kind of sitting on the bracket down here, but I've got to come up with some sort of a plate or something to be able to mount it to on the inside there. So I just went ahead and kind of bent up a little bit of metal, and I'm thinking that I can zap that in there someplace and give that, I bent it over there just to get some strength, but that way I can get a surface where I can attach the blue bracket to the Elco and kind of tack it in place at the top and then at the bottom, and get a surface to mount to. Can do that on both sides for the time being. I think I'll just drive a self-tapper up in here, kind of hold it in place so I got a starting point, and then we'll pull this whole thing out and make one for the other side, and then zap those in place real quick, and then see what we can do with and play with some fitting it. So that should be next. Okay, so I got both sides in here prepped enough to tack in place, just to kind of see if we can locate this crossbar here. So I'm just going to throw a couple of tacks in these babies. Okay, we'll get the other side zapped in, but I think we should be in pretty decent shape. That'll give us at least a mounting point for those blue brackets. And I think for the, until we get it finally located, we can probably just throw some screws through that bracket so we can have a little bit of adjustability and so on. But let's get the other side in and then start playing with the brackets. Okay, so got these brackets booger welded into both sides, but good and solid in there. And then got them located, fussed with it a whole bunch. I'm going to locate these with a couple of screws, and then get a spot weld in there to kind of replace the spot welds that I drilled out on the Camaro. So we'll put these in there. Put a screw in this one real quick, then we'll get some metal melting done. But these got to locate right about you there. Somewhere. Okay, now we can spot weld that bracket onto the other bracket, and then hopefully, if we've got everything lined up right, which I think we do since I fit this thing in here 82.5 times, we should be able to mount that crossbar in the car nice and solid. Got mounting points down here and on the sides, kind of like it was in the Camaro, and that way we'll have something to put the dash assembly to. So we will pick it up at that point. By the way, I just realized the other day that there's only two things that I won't eat for breakfast. That's lunch and dinner. Okay, well, let's get some work done. Okay, well, that should be more than enough to support that dash in there good and solid. I will go ahead and get the other side zapped in, and then we'll do a test fit. We'll pick it up at that point. Okay, got those welded in. Let's do a test fit, and for these purposes I actually put the cover and mounted it to the crossbar, because I want to make sure everything is in the right spot. And we can put in these center supports. And then what I found is I can just roll the whole thing forward and get it up into position, essentially. So started. Okay. Start a bolt over here to hold it up while I get the other side. So throw a quick bolt on each side so we know where things are at. sure we still got alignment. All right, well, we'll get you in here for a quick look and see what you think. All right, so here's where we're lined up with the door. I think this has got to shift forward about that far, but you can adjust that around in there. But as you can see, we got pretty decent lines meeting up over there, and we can fine tune adjust you know, kind of where it's at in the car based on you know, those holes that the crossbar mounts to are slotted and a little bit bigger. But I think for all intents and purposes we kind of have a dash mount, so that's in there nice and solid. Now I just gotta do a little bit more trimming on the front because this came forward a little bit more, so gotta slice out a little bit for the VIN there, and then we'll figure out something to get this clipped underneath there. Now the windshield's gonna hold it pretty much in place, but really would like some clips in that so it gets located where it wants to be. But for that stage of the process, I would say that's pretty successful. So I'm happy with it. We'll go from there. All right, now that we've got the crossbar into the car and got mounting points for, you know, the dash panel basically, what I want to do at this point is try and figure out a way to get this front of this dash to clip in there like the original one did. They have those funky little clips on them that go underneath. So I've got some holes to fill, you know, with the speaker hole and stuff here. So what I'm thinking, and it always gets me in trouble, but I can cut out, I traced out the front kind of contour of the dash here and kind of where the vents go and all sorts of fun stuff, where the clips go. Did some measuring with sticks and, you know, tape and fun stuff like that. But I'm gonna chop this out and then be able to attach those clips, probably, you know, just tack them in place. So I got kind of a funky little hook, what you call it, on it. But then I can take this whole piece and kind of reinforce the front of this dash, since it's a little bit flimsy at this point. Take this and bond it with that with the 8115 3M stuff, and actually have a little bit of a structure across this front because it's a little wobbly. I mean, I probably could get away with just stuffing it underneath the windshield, but I'd like to be able to clip that front so there isn't any movement and fun stuff like that. So I'm going to take the sparkly wheelchair and chop this out, and then I think what we can do from there is see if we can kind of manipulate it on the car with the clips and then screw the two together or something and try and figure it out from there. But let me get busy on chopping this out, and we will see what comes out of that. Okay, now I think this piece can be somewhat integrated with that piece, and we'll figure out how much more plastic or metal I got to remove where, and that way we'll have something to strengthen the front of that, kind of keep it even, and may even roll that edge just a little bit just to strengthen it up a little bit. But I think we got a good start at that. Let's go fuss with it in the car a little bit. Alright, so I got that cut out. I also cut out a little spot for the VIN plate, and then I also just screwed a couple of those clips just temporarily on the back side here, so I can see if it will kind of do what I'm hoping it will do. I can slide those clips in on the side. There's a series of like 5 clips that go across the front of that hold that in place. So yeah, I think putting this together with the plastic dash and kind of gluing it all up should give it some strength and then be able to hold on to the front of that so it doesn't come up. So I'm going to go ahead and see if we can't get those clips located for the remainder of these, zap those on real quick, and then that should give us a basis of mounting in the car, and then we can put the plastic dash panel over the top of it and throw some self-tappers in there. Still got to cut out the defroster vents and stuff, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So let's do that. Okay, so I got these clips cleaned up and located where I think they should go, and clips into the car pretty good. So I'm going to tack them on real quick, and then we will cut out these defrost holes. So make that the plan. Okay, so that should clip into place, I believe, and keep the front of that level across the front of the car. So now all we got to do is chop these holes out for defrost. Glasses going. Okay, I'm gonna clean up the ends of those defroster holes real quick with a die grinder, kind of make them round, and then we'll go trial fit that on the car. Okay, so I got the defrost holes kind of rounded out a little bit. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this clipped in where it wants to be. And then I think we can throw the plastic dash over the top of that and get them mounted to each other. That's the thought anyway, so. Okay, so that clips into place. Alright. Front end looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and throw that other dash in there real quick. If we can get this close to where we think it should be going. Okay. Throw a couple of screws in this baby. this mounted up to the right spot here. Okay, I live in the car. So I think what we can do is drive a couple of screws down through this. I think maybe a pre-drill might be a good idea. Gotta find the hole that I drilled. Well, I'll get a bunch more screws in this, and then we'll pop this off the car and see if we can put together kind of a clamping strategy on how we want to see it together, I guess. So we will pick it up from there. Okay, got some updates for you. I got these two attached with enough locating screws, I guess, in order to, I guess probably enough screws so that we could fix the Titanic, I think. But it's located with screws and so on, and I cleaned up the rest of the plastic on the back side of this, as well as cut those defroster holes. And at this point, I also did add a couple little wings on the side of this to fill in kind of the gap where it was a little bit short. So this kind of will locate right here, and I think at this point we are pretty much ready to bond these things together. Got it cleaned up and so on, so I think I'll put some adhesive on this and then clamp this together with the screws. Hey guys, I think that's going to do it for this edition of Let's Get Dirty Garage. I mean, the last one, the door panels got a little bit long in the tooth. My apologies for that, but there was a ton of work there. I think there's even more work in this, so we'll split it up into a couple of parts. But I think as this dries, we'll have a good start at trying to make sure that all the details are there. We got tons more to do. We got to fit in the vents. Got to manipulate the glove box to fix. to fit. We got steering column and all the finishing and wrapping and all that fun stuff. So there is a ton to do. But hey, if you get a chance, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Tell somebody that you're enjoying the channel. We really appreciate it. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about what we've accomplished so far, and give me some ideas on what we should be working on and doing better or different. Appreciate all the feedback for sure. Yeah, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys watching, and I think at this point, just thanks for getting dirty with me today, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.